it's been a while since I've recorded. I've had a bit of a rough go with my knitting lately. I don't know what it is. I've just had some projects that just didn't seem to work properly. And I just kind of got stalled on them. So I picked up some other ones to work on. And yeah, it's been a strange couple of months since I've recorded. But I do have a couple of finished objects to share today and some works in progress, which I will talk about why they're disasters. So yeah, without any more blabbing from me, I'll just start right into it with what I'm wearing. I've got on the Soldatna by Caitlin Hunter today. I finished this one, I believe it was about a year ago. I made it mostly with Malabrigo Arroyo yarn. I pretty much followed the pattern as written. It's a Caitlin Hunter design, and I love it. It's a great summer top for when it's not too hot out. Just throw it on over top of a dress. It's got a really nice yoke design to it, and yeah, the Soldatna by Caitlin Hunter. So I will start off with my finished objects. The first of which is a hat that I made with some yarn, which yeah, it's kind of funny to be talking about making hats when here it is, the first official day of summer, and I've got, yeah, a nice wool hat to show. But it's one that I designed myself and made with hand spun from a very dear, wonderful woman that belongs to our Fiber Arts Guild, Deb. So yeah, let me grab it just a sec. So this is the hat. It is, as you can see, I made it with, Deb had, I think, three or four different colors of hand spun where she just had one ball of each sort of thing. And so I just played around and designed a pattern as I went. I cast on, I believe it was 80 stitches with 4.5 millimeter needles, I believe. I will double check that and put it down below if I'm wrong. And yeah, just kind of went for it and kept trying it on as I went along to see how it would go. And I did use a strand. You can see that's the back side where the lines shift color. I did add a strand of mohair throughout to make it a little softer and fluffier. And here I'll put it on so you can see. It's I found the pom-pom at one of the local yarn stores, and it was such a unique color. I'd never seen one like it before, and so I wanted to make a hat that would go with the pom-pom. Usually it's the other way around where you make a hat and then you go looking for a pom-pom. This is actually a hat designed around a pom-pom. So yeah, it's just a nice, warm, cozy wool hat that I really won't need for a few months yet. My second finished object is a pair of socks that I made using the Zauberball crazy sock yarn from Schloppel. I have made a pair using this yarn before, and I have to say this is one of the projects where I was kind of disappointed. The first sock, the transition, I knit them from cuff down, and the first sock, like the transition through the gusset, the colors are, there's no jolting lines, that show where you've done the extra rows for the heel and flap. But the second sock, it's like, it just, you can so clearly see where it goes. The color transition was just so abrupt and so short that it didn't make for a very, I don't know, I was really bummed out because, yeah, I'll just show you the first pair of socks I made with the Schlapple Crazy. I've had this pair for a couple of years now, but you can see there's just a nice even transition on this sock, and you know, the second foot, same thing. There's no, well, I guess there is a bit of a line there, but it's not as drastic somehow. I don't know. I was kind of bummed with how these turned out, you know, but still, they're a pair of socks. They're worn. The Schlapple Crazy, as you can tell, seeing how these are, what, 2 years old, you can tell they wear well. They're long wearing. It's a good sturdy sock yarn, and they are colorful and playful. I just really found the transition to be a bit much in that. If I'd known it was going to do that, I would have done some color management along the way. But yeah, anyhow, same vanilla sock pattern that I've improvised to fit my feet, that I do 64 stitches on 2.25 millimeter magic loop needles. Knitting the round. These ones, I believe I did 70 rounds for the cuff, or yeah, the leg is, I believe, 70 rounds. And yeah, just Kitchener stitch the toe together at the end, the heel flap and gusset. Yeah, that's about all there is to say about those. So that's it for finished objects. Like I said, not much to show, but I thought that I would have had a lot more by now, but I got stalled on this. I was making the olive tank by Sari Norland, and it said that you could use 2 fingering weights for the yarn, or a DK weight. So I had this silk, well, it's a merino silk blend sock yarn that I picked up when I was in Newfoundland. That's beautiful. And I started knitting it, and it's just, I don't know, it just doesn't, it's really heavy. It doesn't feel like, I don't know. I can't decide whether to finish it or frog it at this point. It's just been sitting in my bag for over a month untouched, because it just feels so heavy, and when I try it on, it just doesn't feel right. Like I can't see myself wearing it. It's just too thick. And you know, it's supposed to be a tank, and merino, wool does have a quality where it is actually good in summer, because it keeps the heat out as much as it traps the heat in winter. It helps regulate the body temperature more. But this just feels like it's too, I don't know. It's just not sitting right at all. So yeah, it might just be frogged by the time I do my next episode. Either I'll be wearing it or I will have frogged it. I have to do something, because it's tying up my needles, and I can't just leave it sitting in the bag much longer. There isn't much more to knit on it. It's just about finished, really. All I have to do is the ribbing on the bottom, and it'll be done. So I don't know, I might power through and do the ribbing and wash it and see if it feels any better after it's been blocked, and if not, then I will have to frog it. So yeah, that's the olive tank by Sari Norland. One of my fails. So my second work in progress I have that's feeling like a bit of a fail is after ripping out my hinterland sweater that I was trying to make, that was a fail. Boy, 2025 has not been the greatest year for me for knitting so far, but I decided I needed a win, and that I would just use the yarn to make a ranunculus. I've made 2 summer ranunculuses before, but I don't have a long sleeve winter one, so I decided that I would use this yarn and make a ranunculus with it. So I wanted it to be more, more form-fitting, so I just made the size 1. The yarn that I used was this Sirdar Cashmere Merino Silk. It is really soft. It is the softest yarn I think I've ever knit with. I can definitely wear it next to skin, because when I keep trying it on to see for length, it feels really lovely next to skin. The thing was that I wasn't sure how much it was going to grow, and so when I finished the ribbing on the bottom, it measured, and laid it out on my blocking mat. It measured 19 inches from the top of the shoulder to the bottom of the rib. Without stretching it or trying to do anything at all, I soaked it and lay it out to block it, and it went from 19 inches to 23 inches. So it just, the yarn just expanded so much. I was not expecting that. And it made me realize that if I had blocked my hinterland sweater before ripping it out, it might have fixed the problem that I had of it being all bunched, because it didn't seem to be, anyway. But that's water under the bridge, that's gone. But now I don't know how much to do the sleeve, because I'm not sure how much the sleeves are gonna stretch, because if the body stretched that much, then, what's the sleeve gonna do? Is it gonna like spring out too? So I'm trying to make the sleeves kind of like bracelet length right now, so in anticipation that it's gonna stretch. And I guess we'll see how it goes. But my biggest beef is with the yarn itself. I don't know if you can see how badly it's pilling already. I mean, I haven't even worn it, and it's already getting pilled just from being in and out of my project bag. So that's not a good sign when something's already pilled before you've worn it. And it's kind of frustrating me on this project, but I am going to finish it. I ran out of yarn, so I had to order more, and I've been, alternating skeins in the arms so that there's, so that you don't see where the dye lot changes at all. And I have enough yarn left on this sleeve in a little ball so that I can alternate yarn when I get to this sleeve too. And I should be finished this one within the next, probably by the end of the week, I'll have this sweater finished, and which will be good because it'll be nice to wear camping and stuff. I mean, if it's gonna pill and look like crap, it doesn't matter where I wear it, right? But anyway, I do love the ranunculus pattern. It's so fun to knit. It's just a joy. If you're one of the few knitters in the world who have not tried it and are, on the fence about it, I can't recommend the pattern enough. It's so much fun. And if you are new to the pattern, there's some great YouTube tutorials by this woman. I believe her channel's name is Sun Dragon. And she has like a little video for each single stage of the sweater where she explains everything and shows it going very slowly, so that if you're like me and a visual learner where you have to sort of watch somebody else do something to get the hang of it, she's just great. I can't recommend her enough. So yeah, so this is work in progress number 2, the ranunculus by Midori Ito. I think it's Midori Ito. I should know her name off by heart by now, but I'll put it down below right here, like I always do. And also, I always have everything listed in the description box if you just click below and on the side there. It'll have links and all the names of what you need to know if you're interested. Just like every other knitting podcaster on YouTube. So my next work in progress is actually kind of a finished object and a work in progress. It's a pair of socks that I'm making. I've got the first sock finished here, and I am just working on the second sock. I'm using the Hermione's Everyday Sock pattern, which is a free pattern you can find on Ravelry. And I'm just going to load this onto the sock blocker so you can get a better look at it, because I think that's really pretty. I am using the Manos del Uruguay Alegria, what's it called? Alegria Super Pool. There's the label for the main color. And then I got this purple. Oh, there goes my clock. I got this purple that I'm using for heels, toes, and cuff. No, I didn't do cuffs, that's right. I just did the heel with an alternating slip stitch. So you can see, and the toe in the purple. And I love the Hermione's Everyday Sock pattern. It really breaks up like the yarn. You can see the difference where I did the bottom of the foot just straight regular vanilla sock stockinette stitch all the way through, and then the Hermione's pattern, you can see what a difference it does in breaking up the lines. It is such an easy pattern. It's just like you know, the first row you knit 3, purl 1, knit 3, purl 1, and then the second and fourth rows are just straight knit, and the third row is knit 1, purl 1, and then knit 3, purl 1, knit 3, purl 1. So it staggers it, and yeah, it's a really easy, simple pattern, and with just such a lovely result. It's yeah, if you're looking for something to just shake up a pair of vanilla socks, I highly recommend it. So yeah, just knitting them the way I always do, cuff down, 64 stitches on a 2.25 millimeter, 2.25 millimeter needle, and the slip stitch heel. Yeah, it's fun doing this with the heel. Actually, I started doing this when I went off grid on the Stephen West socks, when I did his knit along socks and wanted to create my own sort of different looking heel. I started doing this by just alternating skeins the way you do in mosaic knitting, yeah, alternating whether you slip the first stitch or the second stitch on the different rows, and it gives you this really cool effect. So yeah, if you wanted to try something different, it's kind of fun. So yeah, that's it for work in progress number 2. Okay, so that was actually my third work in progress. Yes, I do know how to count to 3, but some days counting to 3 is even a challenge. But yeah, anyhow, I sort of forgot about my olive top when I was talking, because I guess in my mind I've already frogged it. But the socks were item number 3. So yes, I can count. And number 4 is my jelly roll blanket, which I've been working on for a while. It's been a little while since I've shown it, I think. I was only finished the first strip and into here on the second strip, or perhaps I forgot to move the marker last time. I think I forgot to move the marker. I'm pretty sure I had started the third strip before I showed it to you last. But with all the frustration with my other knitting, I've done a lot of work on this just because it's something I can pick up and it just works, I'm a hockey fan, and watching all of the Stanley Cup finals and trying to cheer on the Edmonton Oilers, even though I'm not from Edmonton. I was trying to cheer a Canadian team on. It's watching hockey was took a lot away from knitting, and I have to just be able to really concentrate on the TV, and this fits the bill for that. So anyhow, you can see that I now have 4 strips, 4 strips done, and I'm just starting up the side on, let me get it there. Starting up on strip number 5 is underway here. So yeah, I'm just using up leftover sock yarn and some mini skeins that I got in an advent calendar last year and the year before. So it's a fun project. My goal is, I would love to have it finished for next summer for camping, for in my bowler, because that was sort of what I had in mind for this. So that's about it. I am hoping to start the Nordic Bloom cardigan. I actually did a gauge swatch, and it was just like everything else. It did not turn out. My gauge was so far off that I'm having to rethink my yarn, and I'm hoping to purchase some yarn and get started on that as soon as I finish my ranunculus. That's sort of my goal at the moment. I've had my eye on that sweater ever since I saw the pattern when it first came out, and so I bought the pattern, and I thought I had yarn in my stash that I could use, but I do not. So I will have to invest in more yarn if I want to do it, which is kind of fun, because I do love going to the yarn store. I mean, who doesn't, right? Normally at the end of my podcast, I do a reading update. I will do a very, very, very quick one here, just because I have read way too many books to go into much detail. So I will just kind of flash through them, and the 1 or 2 that really, really stood out to me, I will highlight. Okay, so if you're not into reading, I will see you next time. And if you are, actually too, I forgot, I've been spinning again too. So that's been taking up time. I spun my way through all of my hand-dyed yarn that I did with onion skin and lichen. I will put in a picture here of the skeins, so you can have a look at them. And I'm currently working my way through some beautiful BFL silk mix that is just gorgeous. So I hope to have that to show on my next podcast too. So, all right, well, that's it for now. Stay tuned for reading, or see you next time. Okay, on to reading. I think I've read at least 15 books since the last time I recorded. I tend to read a lot. I do the odd audiobook as well, and I count them as reading. But most of them I just like to physically read the words. I've read The Covenant of Water by, excuse me looking down, I'm just staring at my laptop screen here so that I can get the names. But yeah, The Covenant of Water by Verghese Abraham. I gave that one a 4 out of 5. The August into Winter was not my usual kind of book, by Gary Vanderhoog. That was, yeah, that I 3 out of 5. Jenny's Boy, I read that because it was part of the CBC Canada Reads selection this year. And I found that one, I only registered a 3 out of 5 for me, sadly. But I read Sarah Polly's book, Run Towards the Danger, which is a memoir, and has to do with her growing up as a child actor, what it was like. She was in the Avonlea series. And then she's a renowned director now. She's directed the movie most recently, I believe, was Women Talking. That's the last one I can remember that she directed. But she was also one of the people who was sexually assaulted by Jian Ghomeshi of CBC. So I think I was curious to read that essay as much as any of the others that make up the book. But it was a good read. I definitely enjoyed it, and would recommend it. Also, The Break by Catherine Vermette. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. But it was also a really, really good read. I reread Anne Marie's Fall on Your Knees because my editor suggested that I read it as a way that that MacDonald deals with sexual assault in a way, so that the way that she writes it, without having to say exactly word for word what's going on, but you know what's going on. And so I was curious to reread it, because the first time I read it, I didn't like it, and I know a lot of people who read the book love it. And but for me, even second time through, I learned a lot from MacDonald's style of writing, but the plot was more than I could handle. It just I didn't like the way that she portrayed some of the stuff, and I found the ending was just, yeah, I don't know. I gave it a 4 out of 5 reluctantly because there are no half stars, but yeah. I did Milkman by Anna Burns, and Ellen in Pieces by Carolyn Adderson. That was a really, really good novel. Fabulous novel. It tells the story of this woman, Ellen, but you see her through the eyes of other people, and it as well as her own story. And you're left with, in the end, the title makes sense because you get to see how these little pieces of Ellen have affected everybody else's lives throughout her life. And I thought it was just a really beautiful, gorgeous prose, really well written. I love her timing, her sense of humor, her word choice. She's a brilliant writer. Carolyn Adderson, just absolutely brilliant. I read A History of Burning by Janika Ozo. Oro? I should put my glasses on. You know that? I'm trying to read names and I can't see what I'm doing, so I will do us all a favor here. Janika Oza is A History of Burning. There we are. I look very scholarly this way. But yeah, that was History of Burning. I enjoyed this one a lot. I probably would have given it a 4 out of 5 or 4.5 out of 5 if half stars were options, but I ended up giving it a 5 out of 5. It was like a sweeping saga that goes through multi-generations. It was a good history lesson on Uganda and all that they went through with the destruction of Idi Amin. So I found it, I like books that do that offer you a glimpse into a whole other world and sort of educate you at the same time as to different histories of different places. So I really enjoyed it for that. I read Anne Pachette's Bel Canto, which was another really highly praised novel that everybody loved, and I loved it right up until I think the last half chapter, and then found it to be overwritten. But I still liked it enough that I gave it a 5 out of 5. I read Rowie Hogg's book Stray Dogs, which is short stories that I did not like. I gave it a 3 out of 5. Zadie Smith's book of short stories, Grand Union, which I think I laughed out loud through the entire thing. Nobody has her wit and the satire that she brings into her short stories. Or she's a brilliant writer. I really enjoy her, but she's not for everybody, that's for sure. But she does have a really offbeat sense of humor that I love. I think my favorite book I read of the last 2 months was Our Homesick Songs by Emma Cooper. I'm a huge Emma Cooper fan. I fell in love with her writing when I read Emma and Otto and Russell and James. That was a CBC book choice for Canada Reads. And when I finished that, I read her book, We Should Not Be Afraid of the Sky, which I absolutely adored as much, if not more, than Emma and Otto and Russell and James. And this was actually the first novel she wrote, Our Homesick Songs. And again, Emma just, like, she's such a brilliant writer. Her timing, and she really uses white space on the page when she's writing, so that she's a musician, and you get this sort of cadence to the way that she writes that's lyrical almost. I mean, I'm not trying to say it rhymes or anything like that, but it has it's just very musical, the way that she writes, and I absolutely adore her prose, and I really hope she has another novel out soon, because yeah, I just absolutely love her storytelling ability. I read Lisa Genova's More or Less Maddie, about bipolar, which I myself suffer from mental health issues, so I was curious to read and see how she dealt with it, and how she, and I found she was very accurate. She had a very accurate description for bipolar. I found the mother to be a little bit overblown in the book. So I wasn't crazy about that, and I probably would have only given it a 4.5 out of 5 stars if half stars existed, which half stars do exist in my world. The last one that I tried to read was A Dream of a Woman by Casey Plett, and I did not make it through it. I was trying to broaden my reading, just my reading scope a bit, and it's a book that's a short collection of short stories to do with trans people, and I don't know, I got to a story where she started going into details about some guy who wanted to be spanked and what looked like, and I realized it was not just, there's too many books out there that I do want to read, that I don't want to force myself into something that I don't enjoy. So yeah, that's I think that's all. I thought there was another one, but yeah. Anyway, that's sort of what I've been up to in the reading world, and also, of course, rereading my own novel again. My new one that I'm working on, I just finished doing edits on it, and it is now off being examined by some publishers and agents, and I'm really hoping that this one gets picked up. My other novel is now slated for release in January 2026 with Breakwater Books, so I will have more on that as the date gets closer. All right, well, thanks for watching, and I know with all the turmoil going on in the world, between bombs dropping in Gaza and Iran and Israel and Ukraine and Russia and Trump with his tariffs and uh, the No Kings protests, and there's just so much going on in the world right now. And with all of that, I just really find solace in knitting. It's like it's something that I can do to help me remain sane in this otherwise insane world. So happy crafting, and until next time. Oh, I do have one last little bit. Sadly, I guess it has been a while since I've recorded. I lost my old border collie Finnegan. I think I can get through this without crying. He was 15 and a half years old. He lived the life of kings. He was my best friend in the whole world that I've ever had. He was my partner in life. I'm grateful that I have my other dog Gallagher to help pull me through, but Finny has left a huge hole in my heart. So yeah. So wherever you are, Finny, I love you. Anyway, that is it for now, and until next time, happy crafting, and